And we are live. I'm very excited to see you guys here on this call. It's the very first time me using this format. Welcome to my webinar. My name is Ali. I'm the founder and CEO of Bean Advisory, and I wanted to take this moment and this format for the very first time to actually show you how you can build an extra 10K per month income with Airbnb. Okay, for the past 2 years or so, you've been following me on social media, and I'm really appreciative for all the followers that we have gained over the past years. But I've been basically giving you teasers and little tips and tricks how to do this and that. But I never took the moment to actually sit down with you guys and explain it step by step. All right, so this is the very first time me using this. If you're coming from Instagram, welcome. If you're coming from YouTube, welcome. If from any platform, welcome here to this webinar. I'm very happy to have you here. We're, by the way, now with over 1,010 people on this webinar, and it's rushing. I'm honestly so grateful for you guys being here and actually showing interest in how you want to change your life. And by this number, it already tells me like there's so many people who want to change their lives, and this might be the business model. It's not, if it's not, you learn something. If it's something for you, you learn something, and you can actually execute it today. Airbnb is a business model which is fast, effortless, and scalable. And I wrote this down on the slide not by accident. It has a purpose. Why? Because I've been into so many business models before. I've tried drop shipping, social media marketing. I've tried what else? AI agents. So many things out there that you can try. But I always stick with Airbnb. Why? Because it is a fast way to earn money. It's not. I'm not telling you it's a get rich overnight scheme, right? It is if you dedicate yourself and you scale it compared to other business models, you can actually build a very stable income for you. Okay, that's why it's fast, it's effortless with the right systems, and it's scalable. If you dedicate yourself to build this business, you will 100% succeed in this. I'm guaranteeing it to you. All right. So who's this actually for? If you want remote income, that's for you. And back then, I was actually looking for remote income. A little bit background story to myself is coming in the next slides, but I was born and raised in Germany. It's one of the coldest countries in Europe, and I hated winters. I never wanted to stay in winters. I always escaped in winters, but I had no money. I was just saving up, working over the summer month, and then enjoying the winter months somewhere abroad. But that's obviously not sustainable. I needed something that I could do whenever I want, from wherever I want. So Airbnb became my remote income. It is for someone who don't want to buy property. Now, I know that wow, we had 1,250 people right now already. This is insane. Thanks guys again for joining this call today. But this is also for someone who does not want to buy property. And many of you people, I have texted with you via DMs. A lot of you people actually don't want to buy a property or can't buy a property because it's very capital intense. So you want still to get into real estate, and that's the perfect business model for it. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. And it's for you if you want something proven and not trendy. I told you, I've tried so many business models. There's so many business models out there. Compared to the others, it is something really proven. And I'm not the only one on the internet talking about this, okay? There's so many more people in the internet telling and teaching and showing you how to build an Airbnb business, okay? And they're showing you numbers. I'm showing you numbers. It is working. I wouldn't be where I am if it wouldn't be working for the past 8 years, all right? And it's for someone who wants systems and not chaos, okay? From the beginning on, I'm not a chaos person. I hate chaos. I want system. I want everything organized. I'm German. I'm from Germany. I want everything structured. Okay? So, but let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Ali. I'm the founder and CEO of Bean Advisory, an Airbnb superhost and consultant. Okay? That sounds very fancy. I'm gonna get to it a little bit later. I am a global entrepreneur. I have built businesses all around the world besides Airbnb, in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. And I have a very strong network in real estate, but also in the other industries. I have over 8 years of experience when it comes to Airbnb, okay? I've started very young when I was still in uni. actually even working in a hotel. I have extensive knowledge and a great network in all key markets. So if it's Brazil, if it's Europe, if it's other South American countries, or even Asian countries, I have my agents, my teams. I have built them over the past years. Okay, and I'm very proud to tell that we have actually achieved this year, January 2026, we helped over 100 people to achieve financial freedom through Airbnb. And I'm really proud of this because I have been talking to these people in a state where they were not good financially, mentally, they were not in a good state. And it changed. It changed their lives because, and I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but it literally is. People were talking to me before and after, and they were telling me, Ali, I'm so grateful because we we were able to build something meaningful. Now I have more time with my family. Now I can travel whenever I want, wherever I want. I'm not stressing about money, okay? And I have actually managed over 90 Airbnbs properties worldwide, no matter where. I started in Bali. I have in Thailand Airbnbs. I have Sri Lankan Airbnbs. I have European Airbnbs in the US, in South America, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and the list goes on. Okay, I have built a six-figure revenue generated with Airbnb arbitrage only, and I have a fancy degree, which is an international master graduation, which I did in Germany and in Asia. But yeah, I'm not really using it because I'm an Airbnb, all right? But I have been also working at the Marriott Hotel. And for those who don't know, the Marriott Hotel is a hotel chain, a very exclusive hotel chain, where I learned everything from there. Yeah, you can take a moment and laugh about my picture. I actually hate my team and my assistant for putting this picture on this presentation. But that's me at 18 years old. I have been a broke student working at the Marriott Hotel, as I said before, and I have been really curious and I was observing these hotels where I was working at the Marriott. You know, the Marriott Hotel Group has many brands under the umbrella. There's the Ritz-Carlton and other very exclusive hotels. So it's a five-star service no matter where you go, always. Okay, so I was observing that and actually implementing into my own Airbnbs. I launched my very first Airbnb, I still remember, when I only had 2K in cash and a credit card. I risked literally everything on this one Airbnb, that what I had, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I had no mentor, I had no guidance, nothing. I was just learning it myself. To be honest, it took me a long time, 1.5 years, and I still had a lot of mistakes and I lost a lot of money. But it changed everything with the first booking. Why? Because I was able to get money on my phone. I still remember the first booking. I was literally, and it sounds like I'm playing, but I'm not. I was literally in a beach club in Bali, overlooking the Indian Ocean, sipping a martini, and like being grateful for what I have, right? What I built. Like I'm literally starting my first Airbnb, and that's where my phone gets a notification. Booking confirmed. I was like, wait, when? I was checking dates and it was happening tomorrow. I was stressing out because I had nothing prepared. Like, obviously, the furniture was there, everything was there, but the basics were not there. So I rushed out of the beach club and I was so sad because I literally used my last money on this beach club because I was thinking, like, I gotta appreciate what I've built. But I rushed out after 2 hours, haven't even finished my martini, and running to stores, buying towels, toilet paper, soap, shower gel, everything. There was nothing. So I was rushing and doing all this and that, and then being ready, checking out of my own villa back then, getting into a hotel, and welcoming the very first guest. Crazy experience, but I still remember it after 8 years. And I have created a profitable Airbnb business actually after month one, and this is very unique because in many businesses out there, you're actually losing money first, okay, and it takes you a lot of time to actually build the business. With Airbnb, everything was different because I had a profitable Airbnb business while studying and while working at a hotel. So I observed everything what was going on for the first 6 months, and I actually had saved up a lot of cash. because I was still working in a hotel. I did not need a lot of money. So I used that money, I booked another flight to Bali, and I scaled the business again. And I've been through COVID, I've been through the lowest of low seasons, I have been through everything that you can imagine. I think COVID is literally for everyone in the tourism industry. COVID was the most difficult time of your life, all right? But I've been through it and I know how to handle it. I have learned a lot, and now I'm here still running my Airbnbs and helping others as a consultant, okay? So, for the ones who don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know Airbnb is a platform for short-term rentals. You could basically take photos, list it on Airbnb, and hope that you get some bookings in while you're not at home, right? Airbnb is operating in more than 191 countries. More than 5 million Airbnb hosts are there worldwide with 7.7 million active listings. This is incredible, okay? They have built an empire, and I'm so grateful to be part of them, not as a company, but as a host, because they're taking care of you as well. I know there were many headlines of Airbnb's not taking care of their hosts, but it changed. They're taking care of them, okay? It's a business that is giving you the opportunity to build a monthly profitable Airbnb business with 10K per month and even more. You get more than 80% return on investment per month, which is insane. Just talk to business owners and ask them, what's your return on investment per month? There are very, very few people who will tell you it's above 80%, I'm telling you. Okay? Let's get into why most people actually fail. Because that's the main question. I just told you. You could basically go with your iPhone or your phone and take pictures of your property by night with no lighting and listen and hope that someone will book. But you have not looked at markets. You have not looked at your lease terms, like how much are you paying in rent, and you have not looked at your furnishing. There are no automations and there are no systems behind it, okay? So if you don't have these things figured out, I guarantee you, you will fail. Airbnb is not the same like 10 years ago, okay? Airbnb has changed a lot. Airbnb has changed a lot for the better. For the people who run it professionally, they are now in the top 1%. Okay, sorry guys, we had like a little technical issue here being live, but that's how technology is, right? So let's get back to it. We have not lost a lot of people, to be honest. We had like an interruption of maybe 1.5 minutes, but now we're back. Happy everything is working. Just talk to my team. So let's talk about the business model, okay? In very simple terms. I want to show you, right? You're here. You found a property which looks nice. It's in a great market. You did your market research on it. You checked the numbers, if they make sense, and now you found a property. This property has obviously a landlord, the owner who purchased this property. He is now renting out his own property to make some money. Okay, so what happens is after you negotiate with him and you get the good lease terms, you rent and you pay the rent to the landlord in order to have access to his property. All right, what happens then after you furnish it and you list it professional on Airbnb, what's happening here on the Airbnb platform, people will start booking your property and you receive income from your listed property. Very simple terms, very simple explained. This is how the Airbnb business model works. You have a landlord who's getting his money every single month. There's you who rents this property, there's you who pays the landlord the money, and then there's you who lists the property on Airbnb, and there's you receiving income from your listed property. Okay, let's talk about numbers. If you look at Airbnb arbitrage, there are many different Airbnb models actually out there. So there's Airbnb arbitrage that we are looking at right now. There's Airbnb management co-hosting, where you partner up with the landlord. So this part basically gets crossed out and you're not paying rent, but the landlord is paying you a commission whenever this property is getting rented out on Airbnb. Okay, this is the second one. And there's the third one, is where you are the landlord. Okay, you own the property, you list it on Airbnb, you receive income. That's a very common one. That's like you buying properties. But it's more capital intense. That's the difference. But let's look at the Airbnb arbitrage model. So let's say your rent is at 1,000 US dollars, okay? Your revenue on Airbnb after listing is 3,300 US dollars. Obviously, you have other expenses as well, right? So besides the rent that you're paying every single month of 1,000, you're also paying fees, cleaning, etc. And let's just assume it's at $300 here, okay? Airbnb fees are, by the way, 3%. So what happens is that from deducted from the 3,300 US dollars minus the rent, minus the expenses that you have, you end up taking home 2,000 US dollars in profit every single month after renting out. Obviously, it's not constantly $3,300 per month. It might be more, 4,500. You end up with even more profit. What could be even $3,000? Like, depending on how good you did the market research, you will approximately know what are the lows and what are the highs. But an approximate number for a property now in a random city would be now 3,300 with a rent of 1,000. Your expenses are $300. You're taking home $2,000. Okay, let's look at some other numbers. That's a table I prepared for one of my clients back then. So you can see if we are taking an average of $2,000 per month back home as profit. You have launched now with one property. So let's say you launched month 1, 2,000, okay? Next month, 2,000. This is the accumulated number, 4,000. So let's say you just run your Airbnb for 1 year next to your job, your university, college, whatever. You're running it every single month, okay? And you end up with 24 grand accumulated over the whole of the month, over the year. You end up with 24 grand dollars, 23,000 euros, and 19,000 pounds in profit taking home. This is literally a lower entry job in Germany. That's how much you earn there. Okay, so this is how much you can make as an extra profit. But now comes the scalability part of it, okay? Because usually once you notice, oh, I'm making profit with this, you would not just go and spend this money randomly. You would actually use this money and make it work again and again and again. So let's just assume you will invest into second Airbnb in month 3. Okay, so you saw for the first 3 months you're making $2,000 per month, and now you say like, you know what? That works fantastically. I want another one, because what happens then? You double your income. It's not $2,000, it's $4,000 now. Okay, so from here, you in month 4 you launch your second Airbnb, and all of a sudden your monthly profit income jumps to $4,000. Okay, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000. That's accumulated. From month 4, you're already at 10,000, 14, 18, 22. By the end of the year, you're at 42,000 US accumulated over the whole year in profit taking home. 40,000 euros or 33,000 pounds. Okay, so this is very important to understand. If you scale this after a certain amount, you're doubling your income. You could basically go ahead in month 7 or 8 and launch another one and then another one. It's all possible, but that's very simple explain to you what you can actually do and achieve. Okay, so let's show you how a 10k per month income is built. Okay, I have just explained it to you. It's all about scaling. It's all about scaling. Okay, so you could basically use option 1, 4 units times 2,500 US dollars per month in profit. That will add up to 10,000. Or you use 5 units with $2,000 income, and you build your 10k in per month income with Airbnb. Okay, it's very straightforward. It's very easy, because it's basically once you've done it one time, you just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and then that easy you can get away with 4 units already with a 10k income. That's amazing. Now coming to the market selection. All right, there's so many places out there in the world that you can actually choose, and go ahead with launching your Airbnb. You can look at nice beaches somewhere in the Dominican Republic. You could look at Tokyo in Japan. You could look at Miami. You could look at Berlin. That's, by the way, where I'm from. I appreciate my team putting this on the presentation. I really like that picture. But most importantly, you're not just going out there and randomly choosing cities and thinking like, oh, that's gonna work. That sounds like a cool location. No, that's not how it's working. You gotta do a market research and a market selection, okay? So what I want you to do then is do a legal check on short-term rental. You gotta check what are the requirements and what are the regulations in that certain cities. I can tell you now already, Berlin has regulations. There's some loopholes how you can actually make it work still and launch an Airbnb in Berlin, but you cannot just go and rent a random Airbnb somewhere, a random flat somewhere in Berlin and put it on Airbnb, okay? You actually need to check for the regulations, okay? Then you want to see the tourism demand, okay? You want to check how many tourists are coming. All of these 4 cities are beautiful and there are a lot of people coming, okay? So we're pretty much sure about this, but you want to do a research on that. You want to know exactly how many people are coming there, how much they're spending on average per night, what is like the average spend per tourist in that specific city, okay? So that's something important to check as well. And then you obviously want to find something landlord friendly. Once you talk to the apartment owners, you want something who allows you to do Airbnb, because I have been all over the world speaking to landlords from all over the world, from different cultures, okay? And there's so many people who actually are just straight away against Airbnb and I have no idea why. Maybe they had bad experience in their countries with headlines making around this country talking bad about Airbnb and now they're against it. I don't know, but you want to see if there's someone who's friendly towards Airbnb. And obviously you want to get something what is scalable. When I went to Bali, I knew it's scalable. That's why I went 6 months later and got another Airbnb there. Okay, these are like points you gotta work through before selecting and making sure you're going there. That could be your own city, it could be your city in your country, or it could be complete different country or complete different continent. It doesn't matter. You gotta check these points anyways. So now everything is nice, but Ali, how do you find properties? That's the most common question. First, you get back to the market research, okay? Because you want to select the right city. You want to select the right sub-area. So looking at Miami now, not all Miami will work. You gotta check which market is saturated, which market has still potential, and which area is actually making sense in terms of rent. If you're going to Brickell, you're gonna pay $3,500 for an apartment, or maybe even more. If you're taking a 2-3 bedroom, like towards $6,000 per month in rent, but then you have a higher risk of losing that money. Okay, so you want to make sure you're going to the right market. You want to make sure with this market research, you actually also determine like what are the amenities people are looking for. Because what I usually do in a market research, I look for what markets are performing well. What are regulations saying? What are the average daily rates? What is the rent? What are people searching for? How much are people spending there? What's the tourism demand? All that things, like what are people looking for? And then I'm going searching for the right building which offers these amenities. Miami could be a pool, a gym, right? So you need to select the property features that people are actually looking for. Then obviously permits. Just because a city is allowing you to do Airbnb doesn't mean that you can just go to any area of that city and do Airbnb. Miami, for example, has zoning laws. So you gotta make sure to check the zoning laws and make sure the apartment or the property that you're taking is not included in the area in which you are not allowed to do Airbnb, okay? Also, check for building permits, okay? Make sure the building allows to do Airbnb, because it might be that the area is allowing it and even the zoning laws allowing you to do Airbnb, but the actual building is not giving you permission, and that will be a big issue. Okay, then search for buildings that already allow short-term rentals. If you go on Airbnb and you search for properties, you'll see which buildings have Airbnbs, and then you're pretty sure you go there and tell, look, these guys are doing Airbnb, why can't I do it, right? All right, then coming to the negotiation strategy. First of all, you want a long-term lease agreement which gives the landlord also stability, okay? You want to make sure that the landlord understands you are a professional operator, okay? You gotta convince him, and that's number 5 actually as well. There are different strategies to convince them, but one of them is you are heading out there and presenting yourself as a professional Airbnb operator who knows exactly what he's doing and how to set up a professional Airbnb, okay? Then you want clear sublease clauses. Very crucial, because if you don't have that, you are screwed. The landlord can, tomorrow he could cancel your lease agreement, and all the money you invested is gone. Why? Because you did not pay attention to the lease agreement. So what I'm doing for myself and also my clients is we actually look into the lease agreement. I'm correcting everything. I'm making sure there are the sublease clauses in there to make sure you're safe. Okay? And then you want to make sure insurance and liability clarity is there, that you don't have any issues once someone's checking, especially for the US. When it comes to legal structure, that's another headache. Many people don't want to even think about it. I can understand. It's a topic nobody talks about and nobody wants to talk about. But it's actually very important. Why? Because you might be ending up paying a lot of taxes, or you might have a complete different setup which is not making any sense, and then you might have liability issues or whatever, right? You don't want to do this. So the setup is very important. Select the correct entity depending on the country of residency, okay? And also of the depending on the country of operation. That's also very important. Then you want to do and get the proper licenses, okay? Many countries out there, and I was just recently publishing a video on IG and YouTube talking about exactly this, because 2026 is not for the people not to just randomly launches an Airbnb. Cities are actually breaking down and checking Airbnbs one by one and making sure everyone has a license, okay? Because if you don't have the license, you're screwed. So you want to make sure from the beginning on that you get the proper license in place to operate as an Airbnb. And then there is other important structures that you gotta look out for, okay? So the contracts that allow short-term rental, STR stands for short-term rentals. You want to make sure you have a proper tax structure to optimize your own taxes back home, because you can make all the money, but if you're back home, I'm from Germany, they're taking freaking 50% back, right? So you want to have an optimized tax structure. And then obviously credit cards for leverage. This is huge for US citizens. Why? Because first, you can, if you have a good credit score, I help people in the US to get approved for $60,000 to $200,000 in credit card volume, so they can go and spend it on Airbnbs with 0% interest for 12 months. Imagine that. You're launching Airbnbs without using your own money, and this is amazing, okay? But on top of that, you're collecting miles. You can fly for free first class and business class around the world. There's so many opportunities out there with credit cards if you're using it the right way. So make sure you apply for the right credit cards and you actually get approved for them. And you just want to make sure you do the right paperwork, okay? Once you have now your property, right? You have the lease agreement, you have your credit cards, you have the cash, whatever. Now it comes to furnishing, and you want to furnish because the furnishing is actually a return on investment tool, okay? You want to make sure you get a 5-star hotel style setup. Why do I say that? Because people nowadays, they look out for luxury. They want to stay in the nicest hotels. It's all about flash. It's all about doing those Instagram stories and talking about that on Snapchat, IG, whatever, right? You want to make sure it looks actually Instagram worthy. You have great views. You have, even if it doesn't have the best view, it has great interior, people are likely to book it, okay? You also want to make sure it's durable furnishing. Why? Because the furniture that you're using, many people in and out every 2 days, every week, someone's coming, going, okay? these people are using your furniture and gonna wear off. That's wear and tear. That's not a problem. You can use it, but you want to make sure, and you don't want to have the headache of replacing it every 2 months or something. So invest like $100 more into furnishing, but get durable furniture. And then you want to do photo optimized layouts. Okay, you have a few examples here. Just look at this bedroom. This is freaking beautiful. Like where's the booking button? I want to book it. These color combinations here in the living room, the walk-in closet with the nice decoration, the kitchen, everything is on point here, okay? So you want to have an optimized layout here as well. Then, oh, sorry, my Mac is out of battery. Okay, we're back. You can use IKEA. IKEA is perfectly when it comes to durable furniture, which looks very minimalistic but nice. Okay, you can make this closet is from IKEA, by the way. Okay, you can do like high-end stuff with IKEA, and you can obviously look for hidden spots where people or hotels shop for furniture. Why? Because this can lower your setup costs significantly. Okay, so just recently for one of my clients, we furnished one of their units in the US. It was a 2-bedroom unit, and he spent less than 2K, not 8K. 8K is if you go for the first one, but if you do it on bulk, they lower the prices for you. Okay, so you want to make sure actually you get like the best season furniture. So now it comes to the team setup. Because most probably you're wondering, Ali, that's nice. I'm living in Miami. I want to have an Airbnb in Bali. But, like, who's gonna take care of all that stuff? I'm obviously not going cleaning. No, obviously not. You have a team setup. And that's what I was paying attention from the first moment I got my Airbnb. Why? Because I was 20,000 kilometers away in Germany when I was running an Airbnb in Bali, okay? So the cleaning is something you want to make sure it's on point. You want a reliable team for yourself, or you can actually outsource it also to agencies. So there are plenty of agencies out there who do Airbnb specific cleaning, and you can do the same. You can outsource it to agencies and tell them, hey, I have a property, just make sure the check-in, check-out cleaning process is on point. And they're going to take care of it on a very high level. But if you wanted to source your team yourself, that's what I usually do after my experience. Pretty easy, you save a lot of money on cleaning and you're making more profit on that, right? When it comes to the setup of the team, you need to have guidelines, okay? You need to check in with the team. You're not there. You cannot overview it yourself. But you actually need to go and give them a cleaning checklist so they know exactly what to do. They know how to fold towels, how to place them, how to decorate the place, how to clean the corners, how to put the mini bar. Everything needs to be on point with exact instructions. Okay, I have that. I have a checklist that I put together for every single cleaner. And then obviously you want to have a system on the checking part. You cannot just trust anyone. You want to make sure that it's actually on point. So what happens is with the right systems, you can actually overview the whole operation from 20,000 kilometers away and just making sure everything is on point. Okay, that's how I usually do it. I have specific groups on WhatsApp with team, with an application, a system that I use, where every time my cleaner goes, I see when she goes into the property, that's the check-in time of her, how long it takes her to clean the property, and after that, she sends me pictures on everything which is on the checklist. There are fields, she's just clicking on a photo of the folded towels, photo of the corner that it's clean, photo of this, that. I see it with a timestamp. I see everything, and that's what makes a system on a very high level. That's how you operate on a very high level with a team, even though you're completely remotely. Okay, but here again, for just very simple to understand, you have your property, right? It's listed on Airbnb. So let's say there is a guest checking in later. You get a booking from Airbnb. So here on your phone, you get a booking. Now you inform the cleaning. That's a not automated way. There's an automated way where the cleaner actually gets an automated message where it says, hey, tomorrow is a cleaning happening, please go and make sure everything is clean. Okay, so she knows when to go, where to go, what property to go. She goes there, she cleans the property, and the guest is checking in. Very smooth. You are in direct communication with the cleaner. You can check on your app, and she also has access to the calendar to see when someone is coming and going. And you obviously see everything in overview on your platform on Airbnb. And the guest is happy because he checked in into a very clean property. Okay, now I want to talk about long-term stability. Airbnb is a business model which I'm looking at long-term. Why am I even getting more and more properties? I literally got addicted to it. Why? Because travel demand is rising. You can scale very flexible with this business model, and it's asset light. If something is happening in, let's say, Miami, if they tighten up regulation, or let's just talk about Spain, best example. Spain regulators want to make it super difficult for everyone to have and operate an Airbnb, okay? If I purchase a property now, I will be screwed in a couple of years if the government continues to crack down on Airbnbs there. Okay, but if I'm doing the arbitrage model, it's asset light. I don't have to go and I don't have to actually sell the property. No, I just terminate my lease agreement. I move on to the next country. Okay, and it's location independent. Why? Because you can literally run it from anywhere in the world, whenever you want, wherever you want. Just make sure you as an operator, you don't have to be at the right place. You can be at a place where Airbnb is completely banned. You can still be there and operate your Airbnb, which is in Bali, which is in Miami, which is in South America, wherever, right? So let's talk about the listing and the automation that we put in place. I want to show you an example of a listing, which is pretty good. Okay, although we have here a lowest star rating. Okay, you become a super host if you are rating above 4.82. Okay, that's the number I want you to achieve. This is a random listing I took out of Miami because it had a good, very good features, but it had bad reviews. So on the bad reviews thing, you gotta make sure that every quarter Airbnb, the system, actually reviews your listing and sees if you qualify to be a superhost. One of the benefits of superhost, you get faster, more visibility, meaning more bookings. People trust you more because you're a superhost with Airbnb, and you get a lot of other perks like $100 per year of travel for free. You can spend it on Airbnb with other properties. So a lot of benefits you actually get as a superhost. But looking at the check-in, you want to actually automate it with smart locks. Okay, smart locks are like those little things you put on the door with a PIN code that every guest gets on their phone once they check in. So they check the code and they log in. Very easy. You don't need to bother with keys and something. Smart lock is the easiest way to do it. Then cleaning systems. Okay, just told you about this. You want to have a cleaning system where you actually know that your cleaning lady operates on point, on a very high level. Okay, and also you want to make sure not to text them every single day. Oh, there's a checkout tomorrow, please go clean. There's a check-in, please make sure everything is clean. Okay, you don't want that. You want an automated system here. And then you want to automate guest messaging, because the majority, if we are being honest, the majority of the messages, you don't need to type that, because it's every single time the same information. How to get to the property, thanks for booking, welcome to the property, some information about the surroundings, information about the property, how to use what, and the checkout information. All that can be automated. You don't have to manually write that to the guest every single time. Okay, and dynamic pricing, because that's very crucial. This is how you optimize your income with Airbnb, because what happens is, if there is, for example, an event happening and you checking it manually and then going to your calendar and actually increasing those prices manually, you're losing out on a lot of time. You don't want to do this. So you want to have a tool which does it all for you. And then when it comes to listing creation, we want to make sure it's Airbnb algorithm optimized. Airbnb has its own algorithm. Yes, you heard it right, ladies and gentlemen. Airbnb has its algorithm just like Instagram, just like TikTok, whatever. You have an algorithm that you need to understand with Airbnb here, okay? So you need to optimize text, optimize headlines, you need to optimize pictures, you need to know what settings to turn on and off. That all actually makes, like, that actually depends on your success, like how good you set up your listing, okay? You have to launch it correctly. So looking at this here, for example, okay, we have a beautiful headline: sunlit Bayview Lux Palace near downtown, okay? So you have here already SEO optimized text. You know where it is. It is luxury, this is emotional, and you have great pictures, okay? So all these pictures, they look amazing, okay? This is very high-end professional photography. The furnishing on point. The most important things are here. Beautiful living room. You can look into the bedroom. You have a pool area. The amenities are shown. The master bedroom is here. The other bedroom is here. The other living room is here. So everything is on point here, okay? So these are the things you need to look out for. Now I want to show you, once you set up a professional Airbnb, what can actually happen. This is one of my, Samuel, one of my clients in Bali that I helped to set up an Airbnb. You can see the pictures are very professional, okay? Very professional. We did a great setup here. And look at his calendar. Look at his calendar. It is fully booked. He has 4 days vacant, okay? 4 days. And it's fully booked. A few details on this one. We actually got the lease secured for 1,100 euros. The setup cost was only 1,500. Why? Because we are launching in Asia, everything is cheap, and the property was half furnished. So he only had to buy certain things like the rug, the sofa bed, the plants, the wall picture here, everything there. And look at his average daily rate. Look at his occupancy, and look at his revenue of the first 3 months. So he was able to make income from month 1. This is the most important thing here that I want to show you. Another case study, Mexico City, my client Koray, okay? Beautiful apartment he got. It wasn't a resort, to be honest, but look at the bookings. Full. Everything is full here, okay? You got like 94% occupancy rate. Lease was the one 1,200 euros. Setup cost was a little bit higher here, 4 grand, and average daily rate is 130. This was like a day he rented out to a friend actually, and he revenue 1, 2,900. Revenue month 2, 3,200. Month 3, 3,600. It's amazing how fast you can money with that. Okay. Case study 3, Jonas, another one in Bali. Beautiful property. Very beautiful, fully booked. Look at this. Everything is fully booked here. Okay. Again, property lease 900 euros only. Furnishing €2,000. The total setup was 2,900. The first booking came in after 5 days of listing, and the occupancy rate was at 90%. Look, everything is full here. Revenue month 1, 1,900, 2,400 month 2, and month 3, 2,700. Okay. He recovered his ROI in 2 months only. So now let's get into the process. Let's say you want to start your own Airbnb. I'm gonna break it down again step by step here with like a little summary. First, you do the market research. As I said, you want to make sure you make an in-depth market research and checking on 3 cities. Like, take 3 cities of your choice and just see which one is the best one that can work out. Check on regulations, check on the average daily rates, how much are people spending there, how much tourism is coming in, all that things. Make the regulations as well. Step 2, legal compliance. You need to get the right permits. You need to make sure actually they allow Airbnb in that city. And then it comes to the property selection. With that market research, again, you know exactly what your property needs, okay? And then You need to do furnishing and photographing. Okay, you need to select a trendy furnishing which actually stands out. So you need to make a research of the other properties around that area and know exactly how to do and how to improve your own property. Then take professional photographers in there and make sure they take it from the right angles. Okay, and then it comes to listing creation. You need to list it correctly you need to understand your algorithm. You need to study it. You need to know how to optimize the text, and you need to optimize it. And then you're taking your property online. Okay, that's basically into 7 steps, broken down every single thing that you need to take care of. Okay, as I said, I'm a consultant and I have many people myself to do this whole thing. Okay, these 7 steps, I've done it so many times, hundreds of times. I've been through so many lease agreements in my life, signing, correcting, putting the right clauses in there, and actually listing the properties right and always profiting on them. And yeah, there are many ways to do it. Obviously, you can do it yourself now, but if you actually want someone who can help you, I'm here to help you. I'm here. I've done it. More than 100 clients that I have helped already to get into the Airbnb business. Yeah, we can take a moment and listen, like a 30-second clip, and listen what my client actually says.
Hi there. I just wanted to share my experience with Ali. I never thought I'd be running multiple Airbnbs across different countries. I started in Miami. I wanted to get into Airbnb for the extra income, but I had no clue where to start. I was stuck trying to figure out the legal stuff like business structure and what market even made sense. After I found Ali, things changed fast. He helped me pick the right property in Miami. He walked me through the entire process from A to Z and made sure that everything was automated and running smoothly. But we didn't stop there. With Ali's help, I'm now expanding into South America, a new market. So I can totally recommend working with Ali and BN Advisory.
So grateful for this review because that's like amazing to hear, right? But I was literally helping him, and till today we're still working together. He's now at property 6 already around the world, and I'm so proud of him. But we have basically trained and consulted individuals and even corporations. We help them to get into Airbnb business, investment funds, and even individuals, and getting them into that, right? Like Tawab, he was telling me how he caught up in the hustle of his existing business. He was always dreaming of diving into Airbnb, and we helped him. We helped him get into this. Jessica, I helped her in Mexico, Playa del Carmen. She's now running her own management agency. Koray, I told you about him before. He wanted to get into Airbnb. Now he's running also multiple properties around the world, and the list goes on and on and on. We have helped over 100 people worldwide now with Airbnb, and we're not stopping there. Okay, so now you're probably asking like why I am the right partner for you. Maybe if you don't want to do all these steps, I'm here. I've done it hundreds of times, more than 8 years of experience, more than 100 people I have helped myself. I have my network there who's helping my teams. Anywhere in the world we get into, I have my teams in place, and we get the right property started within a matter of not 1.5 years learning plus spending money on learning and losing money because you're not setting up correctly, but actually using my systems, my network, and putting it in place from day one. Okay, you can scale this with me, and you can use all the systems I have in place. It's 100% done for you, and the best part is for everyone who's actually on this call, 1,300 people. Wow. I'm giving 100% success guarantee out here. Okay. So 100% success guarantee if you work with me. That means it's literally a no-brainer for you. There's nothing that could go wrong because I'm here. I'm setting up your Airbnb because I have done this before. I'm not doing this for my clients, and I'm giving you 100% success guarantee. If it's not working out, hey, you're not paying anything then. Okay, I'm refunding everything. It will work out. I'm promising you. Okay, and I trust you, and I'm really grateful for you guys being on this call here today. I have prepared this webinar, this format for you guys to see and look into it and see how we can build this together. If you want to do it yourself, You have everything here. You have learned over the past, I don't know, more than 30 minutes now talking here. You know how to execute it. You can go try it yourself. If you want to get it faster, you know how to contact me. DM me on IG, write me an email, or even book a call with me on this link down below. We'll be here. My team will be preparing everything for you to talk to me, okay? So you guys are well prepared talking to me, and then we're getting started. We're getting started because 2026 and every single year afterwards is promised to be the best year financially for you and for everyone who wants to get into Airbnb, okay? So thanks a lot for being on this call. I'll be here for another, let's say, 20 minutes to answer all the Q&As, everyone here in this call, okay? So just start now dropping the comments. And for everyone else, thanks a lot for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I hope to chat to you very soon on a call with you, one-on-one with me, okay? Oh, my team just told me that I should actually tell you what else I would do for you. I have not told you. It's 100% done for you. Why? Because I am taking you through a market. It's holding hands, making sure that you get everything from A to Z, okay? We're doing everything what I just showed you here. The market research I'm doing for you. The legal compliance I'm doing for you. I'm selecting the properties with you, okay? So I'm making sure you select the right property which is profitable. I'm selecting the furnishing. I have an interior designer working for you, making sure you select the right furnishing with your dedicated budget, okay? I'm sending across a photographer. I'm having my own editing team, making sure you have an editor in that and the pictures are optimized for Airbnb, okay? I'm writing the listing for every single client of mine, because you're gonna talk to me one-on-one. You gotta get used to this phase from now if you're working with me, because I'm gonna talk to you and I'm gonna explain you every single step, what I have done and how I created the listing, what settings I turned on, which off, and how the algorithm works. And I will create your listing, okay? And I put the systems in place to automate everything. And then, as I said, 100% success guarantee. This is what I promise to you guys working with me. But now, my team says it's okay. I can leave this call. To the ones who want to stay for the Q&A session, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I need to refill my glass of water. Get prepared. Write in all the questions. I'm very, very excited to have you. Let's make 2026 amazing and successful. All right? I see you. Peace out.